What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video. Today's video is one I am so excited for you guys to see. It is with one of my favorite people on the planet, my friend Haba. He's my friend from the gym, so we're actually gonna be doing this one in person. Haba is, like I said, one of the best people I have ever met in my life. This is an interesting episode because it's definitely a play on words, because heavy talk, normally we're talking about people that have lost a lot of weight, and Haba is going through that journey right now, but also heavy because dealing with a brain tumor, it is a very serious episode, but one that I think is really, really cool, and the story is really awesome. It's very uplifting. Haba does a great job telling it and letting people know that just because you have something like this, it doesn't have to define you and it doesn't have to be the end of your life. So I really hope that you guys enjoy this episode. With that being said, let's play the intro. What's up, you guys? Welcome to the video. Thank you so much for clicking on it. I'm super excited with one of my favorite people in the world. A lot of you guys have been really liking the Heavy Talk series, so I'm really stoked to be able to do another one in person. This is my friend Haba. We met here at the gym.
Yeah.
And I just wanted, honestly, this story that you guys are about to hear is one that I haven't even heard the full thing yet, really. And it's something that not even many people at our gym know about. And I think that's really cool. Like, you don't seem to kind of like flaunt it or like tell the story very much, or like, I think because you don't like to use it as an excuse. And it seems like, so I think that's why, I think that's why for me, I think it's so cool. But before we get into, the crazy stuff that's happened in the past like year or whatever, I just kind of wanted to get into, your past, how you got to, CrossFit Dark Side, like how you started CrossFit. So,
sure.
Tell me a little bit about your growing up and stuff like that.
Oh, sweet deal. 93.
Born in 93?
93, yeah.
We're starting all the way from birth.
We started from the beginning. Grew up San Diegan, born and raised San Diego. Lived in Mexico for like 4 years of my life. Well, my parents were split for a moment. Then they got back together, and then life began here in the States again. San Diego, Lakeside, believe it or not. Lakeside, then transitioned into a little hill called Crest here in East County, and started going from there.
And so like growing up, you were never really like overweight or anything like that, right? Like you never really dealt with like too big of like weight fluctuations, right?
So I went chubby in my elementary school years.
Okay.
I was a chubby kid, but then middle school, all that changed. Puberty came in, and boom, slimmed down and started being more active, started liking to run and stuff. And then that came in high school, slim dude. Slim dude. And then after high school, college, dude, weight just started piling on. And that's like where the story, and I started questioning like what's going on.
Yeah, so that's kind of where I think the genesis of this part of your life kind of started, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So you get into college, and you like you said, you started noticing the weight coming on. Was there anything, were you thinking, oh, maybe I'm just not moving as much, maybe I'm eating more than normal?
Yes.
Like what was going through your head at that time?
Yes, definitely. I was thinking everything, that I was doing every single thing wrong. And I was thinking to myself, man, but I don't, I was hearing like different stories from people that were huge or the same size or just packed on weight, and I would see how they were eating, and I'm like, man, I'm not eating that bad. I mean, you can't stay away from carbs, but I'm not eating that bad. And then I started working out on my own, YouTubing, home workouts, would buy dumbbells, set up dumbbells, and I would run, try to run a lot. Nothing was really happening though. And as the years went by, just kept getting bigger, and seemed it would be, the more I worked out, the more I got bigger almost.
That's really interesting. Weird. So, okay, I'm curious about like the mindset that you had in that time. So was it like something that you were frustrated about daily that you would think about, or was it more just like, I don't understand why this is happening to me. I don't understand. Like, I feel like I'm doing all the right things and it's just not working. Or was it like every day you'd be like, what is going on? Like, I need to figure this out. Something is wrong with me. Like, did you ever think there's something wrong with me? Or were you just like, I guess I'm just not doing the right thing?
where, I always thought I'm not doing it as hard, or I'm not doing the right thing. And I also thought, well, you know what? This is luck of the draw. There's some fit dudes, and they'll go, and I would see them at the gym as long as I've been going or was going. The regular fitness club, and people were commenting on them like, man, dude, this guy's getting jacked and getting big, and I'm over here sweating and showing up at the same amount of time, staying longer, and not noticing too much of a difference at all. And it was hard. I was like, man, maybe I'm just a hard gainer /
loser.
Yeah, it's a loser. And that's what I thought. And then when I got into CrossFit at this little gym with Ron Gaza, he was my coach. It was called CrossFit Hard Boiled, and this guy, such a cool guy. Cool dude, didn't give up on me. I would show up fashionably early.
No. Haba is notoriously late here at the gym.
Oh man,
nothing has changed there.
Yeah, and he was, since it was such a small gym, he really focused on his members.
That's cool.
Ryan was part of that gym. He was a coach as well. And this guy was the one that was like, no, we're going to get to the bottom of this, man. Like, when you show up to a CrossFit gym, that's what I love. It's a community.
It's unlike any other gym that I've ever been to. It's more, the community that gets formed is something that is like stays outside of the gym as well. Like,
yes.
I end up hanging out, like, for a long time I lived with someone I met here at the gym,
nice.
you know?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's definitely a completely different feel, which is good for some people. Some people might not like it. So I always say, like, if you want to try it out, and you might not like it, like, but you might really like it. You know what I mean?
Definitely try it out. Definitely try it out, because with that, a lot of things changed. Like, going back to that coach, he's like, let's start, we're going to do a challenge. Let's start eating. Let's start weighing your food. Let's keep showing up to the workouts. And for a long time, I was weighing my food, like, MyFitnessPal app, and he would look at it and he's like, all right, we got to lose this much. Let's try to lose a pound this week, 2 pounds, and for a moment it would work, it would fluctuate, and then it would just stop. Working out, I would see other people get stronger faster. And I was like, what the heck? And I would show up more days than them. And I was like, what's going on? And then the scale started going the opposite direction. I was like, dude, Ron, how did I do? He's like, Haba, how'd you do this? You had like your best week. How did you just put on 3 pounds or Willie's? And I was like, I have no idea. And in that time, I started I would have weird headaches before that. It'd be like once every 2 months, this like weird headache would come on. It was like on the side of my face. I would feel it come on. It was like when you turn on a light slowly, like one of those dimmer lights, and I would feel it come on. I was like, oh man, this is weird. And I just thought, like, is this what people talk about migraines? Is this a migraine? I don't know, but all right, cool. Let's just keep going. And that's when things started unraveling. Yeah.
And then so you start getting these headaches. The weight's not coming off, even though you're trying everything. Yeah. So when did you decide to go into a doctor's office, or like decide to get it checked out?
I started knowing something was wrong, like really wrong, when these headaches would happen. At the time, I was an EMT and I was working on an ambulance. I would drive an ambulance around, and I would do long hours, and I would be driving home, and I thought, I'm just tired, but I would be driving, and then I would just feel that headache come on, and feel the headache. That's weird. And then sometimes it would do like a lights out thing on me. That's what I described it like. It was weird. I would be driving, and then I would just like do that, like, and it would be like, oh snap, and then I would like pull over, and
that's terrifying.
I was like, man, am I that tired?
Yeah.
And there's no way I could be that sleepy. I'd drink coffee or a Monster, whatever, bang, and I was like, no, I feel awake, but just felt like going to sleep for that second. And I was like, all right, that's just weird. And then one night, I woke up at 2 a.m. with a headache on the side of my face, on my eye. I was like, oh man, like woke up and I was like disoriented. I was like, this is not normal. That's weird. All right, go to bed. 30 minutes later, another one woke me up. I was like, I've never had 2 in a row like this. This is weird. And then I would go back to sleep, and it happened like 7 times. And then it was 7 a.m. and I was like, this is weird. I should go to the doctor. I should go to the doctor. Yeah. I should get checked out. This is weird. And I'm not feeling too well. Okay. I have younger brothers. Man, love these kids. They're just, they're my pride and joy. And one of them wanted a haircut, and I had promised him to go out with him, take him out to eat, whatever. So I was like, okay, we'll do that. And then afterwards, if I have time, I'll go to the doctor. And then, ignoring the signs, right? That sums up. And I take the little guy, Manny, I take him, and we're eating, and we order food, and then we're waiting for the food, and I just like sit down because I'm feeling this headache come on. And as I sat there, I was like, this isn't normal. Mm-hmm. It hit me like something's wrong. Mm-hmm. And immediately it felt like this fear, come on. Like, shoot, okay, something's wrong. All right, but no big deal. Hey, buddy, we're going to cut our day short. Let's go home and take him home. And, I'm like, on my phone now, hey, I'm going to go to the doctor. I'll be all right, though. I'm just going to go to the doctor. Go drive by the ER.
Yeah, no big deal.
Head in there, and I'm waiting. I'm on my laptop, I'm doing work. At the time I was production director for a church. Mm-hmm. And I was like, keeping up with my team, blah, blah, just waiting. They call me over, and I get in there, and I explain to them what's going on. Doctor's like, well, let's get a CT scan of your head just to make sure everything's, cool. Get a CT scan, come back, and I'm laying there in bed. I'm like, this is rough. This is weird. And at that moment, my mom walks in the room, and moms are moms, dude. Mm-hmm. It's like,
so you're still at the hospital at this point?
Yeah, I'm in the ER. I'm in a bed. I'm in the bed in the ER.
Okay.
And mom walks in, mom's her mom. She's there. I was like, hey, no worries. I'm good. I'm just getting checked out. I was like, no. Right after that, doctor walks in and is like, hey, we ran your blood work, and we got the scan, and you have a mass in your brain. And I
said it just like that?
Just like that. And I looked at him like,
what does that even mean?
Like, I know what a mass is, but like, and then he goes, you have a brain tumor. Because he could see, like, this guy's not understanding. You have a brain tumor, and we don't know if it's cancerous or not. And we're going to do an MRI. And he walked out. I was like,
jeez, man. So what is going through your head there? Did your mom say anything? Like, I'm sure she probably freaked out, right? Like,
yeah, moms have this, this heart that's just like when it's like about their kids, it just happens to them.
Yeah.
So I looked over, and at that moment, growing up, I was always in a position of leadership. I was like a youth pastor and all, and I always had this feeling like, when my parents separated, my dad would always tell me when we'd visit him, he was in prison, but we would visit, and he would say, you're the man of the house, take care of your mom. So I looked over at her, and I was like, I felt inside, like, is this it? Mm-hmm. But no, it's not. And I looked over at her, and this, faith-filled woman, like prayer warrior, and I just grabbed her hand. I was like, hey, it's all right. We're good. No worries. Mm-hmm. We're good. It's okay. And then, obviously, the regular, I have to go do this MRI. And that was the hardest thing I've done. They put you in this tube, and I didn't know I was, like, claustrophobic. But being in there, they put, like, this cage over your face, and I'm sitting there, like, taking this MRI, and it's, like, 30 minutes long. And that was the hardest.
That
was the hardest 30 minutes of my life, because to that point, I didn't know, like, doctor didn't say, this is a cancerous tumor.
Yeah, it's like the stress of being in that tube just in general, right? And then on top of that being like, why am I in this? Is it because I'm going to find out I have cancer, or I'm going to find out I don't have cancer, but even if I don't, I still have a mass in my head, and like that's kind of scary just by itself, right?
Yeah. So all these thoughts were going around, but I'm really thankful because, see, I understand that all things do happen because there is a purpose behind them. Mm-hmm. In every situation, wherever people are at in life, whatever they're going through, if it's weight loss, if it's health, relationships, whatever it is, there's something that's happening there that's just going to elevate you, mm-hmm. push you, help someone else around. There's something that's happening. There's a journey, there's a process. I understood. I was like, man, this is it. This is the beginning of some process. And I knew in my heart that that's not how I was gonna go. Mm-hmm. I knew, I had a feeling that it wasn't gonna be cancer. There was this peace within, and I just was like, I'm gonna trust it, and I'm going to heal from this, mm-hmm. and I'm gonna beat it. Bottom line. Mm-hmm. And in that tube, that was the moment that I was able to be alone with my thoughts, and stressed out and scared in there.
Yeah.
Then they pulled me out, and I was like, dude, I don't think I could continue with this test. And the guy was like, dude, I could go get your nurse or doctor to give you meds to knock you out, and that's gonna take a while. And I was like, I want to get out of here. Mm-hmm. I want to figure out how we're gonna do this. So I was like, no, let's just finish it. Go back in the tube, finish the scan, go back out. By this time, my dad drove down from San Francisco, and he was there. And that dude's my hero, man. Mm-hmm. That guy's my hero. And he was telling me, son, you're gonna be okay. And then the neurologist came in. I was like, we're gonna keep you overnight. We gotta run more tests. And tomorrow you'll speak to the neurosurgeon, and we'll figure out what this is, and we'll figure out if this is cancerous or not, and we'll take it from there.
Mm-hmm. And then so what happens after that?
So they drive me over to another hospital, and like the ambulance picked me up, go to another hospital. I'm there, and it was such a beautiful hospital. It was just brand new built. It was so nice, like state of the art. Like one whole wall was a screen. Uh-huh. Oh, and I was seeing all these awesome things that, society puts and a business puts to create comfort. And I appreciated those things, but at that moment, I couldn't appreciate anything.
Oh, of course, yeah.
It was rough. And I was like, wow. And I was just seeing these nurses, and I'm like, they're seeing this every day. This is before I even worked in a hospital, mm-hmm. And that was a rough night. And that morning, just getting poked all night, and machines, and I think that is the most vulnerable moment in people's lives, mm-hmm. where you realize, like, literally the day before I was working out, I was going around, I was in the ER, I was so busy, mm-hmm. with life, and then you're there, and things just got real. Mm-hmm. Things just got heavy, and either you get through it, or it gets through you. Mm-hmm. And that's where I was at. Neurologist comes in next morning, family gathers, my girlfriend's there, it's like, shoot. People are knowing now, and obviously I text people, hey, the next day I can't show up, mm-hmm. to my job, to church, I can't lead the group. This is where I'm at. Boom, text messages are flooding in. We're praying for you. We love you. You're gonna get through this. The people at Grace Church were amazing, reaching back to me and praying through in this scenario. And neurologist comes in, neurosurgeon comes in, he says, okay, so this is what we do. There's two ways that we treat this. We we either do surgery, and he's explained to me how he's gonna do this surgery. He's like, we're gonna open you up through your mouth, through your nose. We're gonna go behind your eyes. We're gonna pull this mass out. I don't promise we're gonna pull the whole thing out. It might grow back, and that's one way to do it. What's option B?
What's the other one?
Yeah. And right there it was like, because my family was in the room, and my mom, my brothers, and my dad, and it was like, shoot, you hear that, you're like, whoa. And then he goes, and there's also, we could put you on medication. We could put you on this treatment. It doesn't work. The majority of the time it does not work, but we can try it, see what happens. And I was like, okay, so what do we do from here? He's like, go home. I was like, go home? All right, go home. Go home. Go home, take your med, and we'll follow up. We'll run more blood work.
At this point, had they told you that it was cancerous or not?
Oh, that was the big thing.
Okay.
Right there, he told me it's not cancerous.
Okay. Yeah.
Boom. That was the
yeah.
relief. That was the relief my everybody wanted to hear. It's not cancerous.
Yeah.
Wow. Yes.
Okay, but how do we get rid of it? Like,
Yeah,
you don't wanna
there's
still
still
have it there forever. Yeah. Okay.
So I showed you the pictures, and 4.5 something centimeter brain mass so it's a prolactinoma is the technical term. Prolactinoma, and it's a brain tumor on the pituitary gland.
Okay.
And it was growing on the anterior portion of the pituitary gland, and prolactinoma comes from the chemical that it was thriving and secreting on, prolactin. And later on, when I saw the specialist, I saw an endocrinologist, and she was a neurologist. Bunch of things behind her name. She's this
Smart woman.
super smart woman. Like when you there's some people you look at, you're like, dude,
You're killing it. Yeah.
yeah, you're smart. Yeah. And she started talking to me about it. Later I went over like the next week, and then I started taking one pill, one little tiny pill, twice a week. She's like, you should take this at night because you might want to sleep through the side effects on your teeth.
Ooh, yeah.
I'll do that.
Okay.
No worries.
What were the side effects?
It was different for different people.
Okay.
It was like nausea, lightheadedness. Some people experience vomiting. Like, it just did not sound like a good time. But thankfully, I never felt that way.
Okay.
And then she started telling me about how I was like, what has this thing done in my brain?
Yeah. Okay.
Now we're getting into
Yeah.
like why, like what has this thing done in my brain? She just gave me this lowdown of things. So the reasons for me just gaining all this weight was that this chemical prolactin was, and this mass was suppressing testosterone levels big time. Like that was the key thing. It was just suppressing testosterone levels. And when they ran my blood work, everything looked so off that,
They were like, something is going on here.
Yeah, definitely. Like this is just wrecking havoc because it explained how exhausted I was. I had no energy, but yet I would go push through a workout. And
because you're like thinking, I need to do the right thing. Like I want to lose this weight, so I have to do all of these things. This is what everybody says you should be doing, and I'm doing all of these things, and nothing is working. Like I can only imagine what it must have felt like when she's saying basically, this is like in a roundabout way, this is affecting your weight, right? This is going to affect those things. You were probably like, that makes so much sense. It's not just me not going hard enough. It's like there was something going on.
Yeah. When she was telling me all this, I was like, oh. And I just told her everything that I had done. And I was working out CrossFit. I was eating right. And funny thing. When I was in the ER and I barely came in, they take your vital signs. And at first they were freaking out because my heart rate was so low. Like this guy's complaining, but his heart rate was like 45 beats per minute, 49, 52. And, you know, being in a hospital and ER is stressful, you know.
So your heart rate is
you know,
higher
your
than
blood
normal.
pressure should go up, your heart rate should go up a little bit, but it was low. And they're like, why is it so low? And they're looking at me, and I was like, I don't know why it's so low. It's like, do you, like, what do you do? And, you know, I told them, well, I do this. I do a lot of CrossFit.
Mm-hmm.
And then the nurse goes, oh, maybe. And then the doctor asked me the same thing. I told him, I do a lot of CrossFit. Like, every day I work out. It's like, oh, possibly that's it. But you would look at me, and like, this guy doesn't work out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everybody would look at me. He's like, dude, this guy's eating potato chips on his couch. You know, Ben and Jerry's tub. Still do that. But so fast forward to her explaining all these things, how these things were working out. And I'm like, wow, so I was doing all that work, but the resistance was greater.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You know, you're pushing, you're you know, people are, you know, you're slamming weights and they're pushing hard and they're going against their resistance in their mind and their physical capabilities. But they're pushing through and they're growing.
Mm-hmm.
I was pushing against the resistance of my mind,
Mm-hmm.
you know, my physical capabilities, but also this physical thing that was messing up everything that is normal and the whole natural design process to, you know, make you grow, make you fit. You go through this process. It's you've talked about it. It's simple. A, you know, plus B equals C, right? You know,
You eat less, you move more, you move with intent, you push yourself, and you'll eventually, like, if you're trying to lose weight, you'll lose the weight, you'll get fitter. You were doing all these things, and it wasn't equaling C, it was equaling nothing. Like,
formula wasn't working. It's like, Albert Einstein, you messed up. What happened right here? And it wasn't working, and that's when it hit me, and I was like, I did all this for nothing? And then, you know, all these thoughts come in. It was like, no, it wasn't for nothing. It was building me in here and in here, and just I was hungry. I was hungry and still am, because I'm nowhere near where I want to be. But now this resistance isn't there as much. You know, fast forward to now, where am I today is somewhere different, and the whole process has been a journey. I really think that this is what was used in my life, and I think more things are to come for everybody's life to propel you one to the next level, help somebody around you, and life has never been the same. The day I walked out of that hospital, it's so weird, and that's how you understand, like, you know, you hear about these weird things. You hear about, you know, people, like, you know, being in a car wreck and they're just, they're paralyzed everywhere. And then crazy time happens and they're walking again. It's like, what?
Yeah.
You hear these, like, supernatural things, like, it's not possible. But I really think healing begins in your heart and your mind. And I didn't see things the same anymore. Now in the ER, I worked in radiology for a long time, and I would be taking patients to get MRIs, a study I took, and I remember, or CTs as well, and I would remember looking at the scans, and people were like, oh, what's that? Is that a bleed? I was like, dude, that looks like a brain mass. Like, and I would see the dude, the 21-year-old dude, and I'm like, shoot, that was me. That was me. And then I would see where I could have been. I see where I was, and then where I could have been. Patients getting that, and he's like, he's been getting chemotherapy, and I see the picture of their brain or whatever it is, and I just see that those masses everywhere, and I see how heavy that situation is, and I wouldn't imagine going through that process, but going through my journey just gave me something to be able to speak into there. It wasn't like I was oblivious and this is just a job. It was I could have been there, but I'm not. So I have something to give.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And I mean, you're giving your story now, you know?
Yeah,
so,
it's cool.
So I guess like the final question that I want to ask is, what does it mean for you now? Because like you still come into the gym as much as you can, you still work out. It's like from when I met you to now, it's looked like you've lost some weight. So how are you doing that now that you still have this brain tumor? Like, what is that process like?
Now it was, okay, questions are answered.
Mm-hmm.
Now I know what was happening. And that was the question I asked my endocrinologist, my neurologist. I talked to her and was like, look, can I become fit?
Mm-hmm.
Can I? And crazy thing, when I went on this medication, it started working.
Mm-hmm.
And she was stoked. She's like, yes, you don't need surgery. It's working. And in my heart, like my family's prayer, my prayer was like, let this work.
Mm-hmm.
Let this work. I trust, I trust that this has all been a plan and this isn't the end. And boom, and it started working. Thank God it started working. And when I talked to her, she looked at my labs and she's like, this is what's happening in your body. When the labs that were drawn first, prolactin levels were 1,700 microns per deciliter, some unit, right? It's like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. She's like, so there's 1,700 of this in your bloodstream in your body. You're not supposed to have more than 17.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
So it's like, whoa, what? And then testosterone, when I went in there, was 70.
Mm-hmm.
And normal ranges are 300 to 1,000.
Yeah. So basically almost like no testosterone.
Yeah. It was like, and it was like, and I was like, when did all this start? Like, when did it happen? She's like, probably when you started seeing the weight come on. So I was like, I was like, after high school, just everything plummeted.
Mm-hmm.
And and I was like, so I've been living with this? And she's like, yeah, this has been here for years. Jeez. And I was like, shoot. And now the numbers, what does this mean now? Now the numbers, when I went 6 months later, got another MRI, year mark, they do year mark MRI, and then I did labs, to keep, every so often they would do labs just to see the numbers, how they changed. 6 months after being diagnosed, that 1,700 turned into 17.
Wow.
Like almost.
So it's normal ranges now.
Yeah, and that 70 testosterone turned into above 350.
Okay.
And then now it's another 6 months. Now it's time for more labs and see where I'm at now. Mm-hmm. And that 4.5 centimeter brain mass turned into 2 point whatever.
Wow. And
it just shrinking. And I told her, is this gonna go away? It's like, it should. We hope that it disappears.
Yeah.
But I know in my heart, and I feel it, it's going to.
Mm-hmm.
This is serving a purpose. And now when I come, I'm starting to see my body has changed.
Yeah, absolutely. I've even noticed that. And we've known each other for what, like a year, maybe close to?
Yeah, close to. When I was diagnosed, I'd just come over here.
That doesn't say, cause this all happened not that long ago.
Yeah,
It wasn't like this is a story from 10 years ago. Like this
was March 2018.
So it's been, a year and a half maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's been awesome because I would even notice it. And this, again, like I just found out about this maybe a month ago is when you told me. Not because you hide it, but you just don't share it that much, right? Like, and I would see you come in all the time, and I would wonder, like, I would wonder, like, oh, it's probably maybe he's just eating too much or whatever. Like, there's people here at the gym that come all the time that just don't really pay attention to their diet, and nothing really changes.
Cannot work out.
And then we ended up like having a conversation, and you were like, oh, I have a brain tumor. And I was just like, what? And but I would say the past few months, like I've noticed, like you're losing weight, you're getting stronger in the gym, like movement wise, you're getting better with things. So it's been really cool to see that.
Yeah.
And so do you feel like things are starting to kind of slowly pick up a little bit?
Definitely. I feel things are moving now. before it was like, I don't see anything.
You're
and
like
it was
on a hamster
frustrating.
wheel,
Yeah,
kinda
yeah,
just spinning.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what you describe it as. A hamster. It was just like forever kinetic energy going nowhere. Now I see things like I take off my shirt and I'm not as good looking as you are, but I'm starting to see progress and,
Yeah.
and I like what I'm seeing and I'm stronger and I look different, I feel different, a lot more thankful and grateful, and I'm just hungry to keep pushing myself to get to, I think like getting to a level would be nice, but it's really nice, the journey there.
Yeah.
The journey there is really nice, and
that's really important. Like if your only goal is the actual end goal and not to enjoy the process, like you're probably gonna fall off because the process takes a long time.
Yeah.
And so if you're able to enjoy that process and find things that you find joy in, like for you it's like CrossFit and the community here, it makes that journey so much easier to actually do because you're not only looking for the end goal at the end. It's like, no, this journey is actually pretty fun too.
Yeah. Honestly, I think it's the journey that builds heart. It's the journey, it's the process, it's the character that builds people. It's like a chef goes into, you could get a microwaved meal or you could get a meal that's prepared by a chef, by a process that, they've been soaking this meat for like hours or whatever, I don't know, whatever it is. There's a process that went into this. That's quality, and the end product is quality. It's something beautiful. It's a masterpiece. And then there is the
Quick
fast
fix.
forward.
Yeah, exactly.
The fast forward. The I just want the on button.
I want the satiation. I want it right now. Satisfaction.
Boom. 3 minutes in the microwave and it's done. And that's the best things in life. The most quality things always go through a process. Everything goes through a process. And the product, what happens after that process, is something. It's just great.
Awesome.
It's just great.
Well, I think that's where we should end it because that was a very philosophical way to end the video. But seriously, man, thank you so much for coming on and sharing. I'm sure there are people out there that will be appreciative of you sharing your story. Yeah. And you never know, there might be someone out there that's struggling with a brain tumor that will really appreciate hearing what you said. So thanks for coming on. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. There's one other thing that I wanted to say. Oh yeah, look how buff I am. Sweet, dude. Thanks, bro. Dude, that was awesome, bro.
Obey the warning signs, and when there are flashing lights or wigwags, don't attempt to cross until they come to a complete stop.
You're in the shot.
Dude, look how much buffer.
It's just because I'm wearing the tank top. I make sure I wear tank tops when I'm recording someone, so people give me compliments about
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
I thought about it and I was like, nah, John's the buff guy. I shouldn't make him look bad.
Yeah, I appreciate it. If you wore a tank top, I think people would just be commenting about how jacked you are.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
we want people to focus on your story.
Yeah,
more than how buff.
More than my image and
yeah, exactly.
how great I look.
It's not about how you look.